Tesla is fighting back Oklahoma politicians trying to shut down its stores. Tesla has had to jump through hoops to operate in Oklahoma. For years, the state legislature has been pushing laws to try to prevent Tesla from selling its vehicles to customers in the state. In 2022, there was a bill that was considered which was so wide-reaching that Tesla feared it will go as far as preventing from pushing software updates over the air to its current fleet. Tesla had to compromise and operate its stores as galleries in the state, which means people can come in for a test drive, but they cannot place an order in the store. They have to go to Tesla's website to place the order. But now 2 Republican legislators are trying to shut that down too. And yesterday, the Senate voted 10-3 for this bill. Tesla is encouraging its fans to contact their legislators to vote down the bill in the House. So if you are from Oklahoma, make sure to do that. 2,600 deliveries were reported in China. That's because of the Chinese New Year. Everything is just closed in China, so this is normal. This potentially could be pretty good news for Tesla. Tesla supplier CATL, the battery supplier, has reportedly restructured the shareholdings of 2 top executives to avoid a foreign entity of concern designation under the IRA. CATL's restructuring could be about qualifying for the $7,500 tax credits in the US. We know that Tesla still buys some batteries from China, and that's why, for example, the Model 3 does not qualify for federal tax credits in the US. Troy, though, says this is indirectly related to the compact car. The cell production for Giga Mexico needs to be in the US. So if it really is made in the US, Tesla should get these tax credits. But if it's fully owned by a foreign entity, the US could also make some changes. It appears to me that the US is pretty hostile to China at the moment, and this does sound bullish, but I would be a bit cautious here. Elon Musk has been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize as a stout proponent for free speech and helping Ukraine to communicate, coordinate, and withstand the attack from Russia with Starlink. You don't often see positive articles about Elon Musk in the mainstream media, but here you go. This is great. Tesla FSD Beta V12 is going out to more people. I would love to see a new video from AI drivers specifically reviewing FSD Beta 12. Some good news for all of my Canadian friends. Tesla FSD and annual premium connectivity subscriptions potentially are coming soon to Canada. Finally. Coming back to FSD Beta version 12, Omar just posted another one with no interventions, 0 interventions. This is 40 minutes long and seems like these are becoming more and more common. With FSD 11, I don't think I remember seeing so many no intervention videos from Omar. So this is good. I certainly like that. And what I like about this one is that the weather, at least here in the beginning, is not exactly great. So that's good to know. You remember Elon did say that in areas where it rains, FSD 12 still needed improvement, but it's seemingly works fine here. And this particular drive, 18 minutes long, required 1 accelerator press, and Omar says, this is what I consider a bad drive now. Wow. Now keep in mind, he's in California, so it works quite a bit better there, but if he can make it work there, eventually it's gonna work everywhere. Oh, I don't like this though. In FSD Beta 12, you can no longer dismiss the nag with the scroll wheel. That's what I used to do all the time, because by having to turn the steering wheel a little bit, I would often disengage and I would put the vehicle out of FSD Beta, but I would just increase the volume of the music or decrease it, and it would stop the nag. You cannot do that anymore. So that's so foolish of Nitsa to do that. I mean, I'm paying attention. If I increase the music volume, I'm paying attention. I don't want to disengage. You're making me disengage, because you actually you cannot just apply pressure on the steering wheel. You have to actually turn it a little bit. Here's another person testing FSD Beta 12. He says it's smooth, can't say this enough, handles speed bumps perfectly. I like that. More confident using the scroll wheel to disabling nag doesn't work. Accelerates to freeway speeds better. Performed a California roll through a stop sign. And this is really good news for FSD V12. This version handled this large dip in the road well. AI driver says, I have tested this exact scenario in nearly every version. This is the first time it has succeeded. And roundabouts seem to work well too. Extra points for this clip because it's raining. And it stops, waits, and then goes. Very well done. Pretty good. I like this. And we're heading for the exit. Yep, everything's smooth. With FSD 11, when you would have something on the side of a road like these poles, my vehicle at least would freak out a little bit. I don't see anything like that here. I think James has a pretty decent point here. Release of V12 does not excite me. Show me evidence that disengagement rate is decreasing at an increasing rate if you want to excite me. And we know that Tesla is actually tracking that number, but Tesla is not sharing that number. We have seen this movie before. I remain bearish on FSD until Tesla proves otherwise. However, for all automakers to start licensing FSD, it does not need to be perfect. It just needs to be very clear that it is the feature. It needs to be abundantly clear. And if that starts to happen, this could turn into quite a flywheel. Anyway, I know people are excited about getting their FSD Beta 12, but I don't have the update yet. I just checked. V12 can do U-turns, but according to the head of autopilot planning and decision making at Tesla, no dedicated effort went into making U-turns work. So some regular people are now getting V12. And here's a comment about this drive. It was a 30-minute drive. It had some highway, and the person said it was notably better than V12. There were several points and drives where there were certain behaviors that consistently would make mistakes that now just completed them effortlessly. He said he did not notice any regression, so that's really good. James, though, made an interesting comment here, even though he's pretty bearish about FSD. He basically just said that even if FSD Beta stays in beta forever, it's already worth basically $100 per share if Tesla just makes 2 million cars per year. But of course, Tesla will make many more cars later on. So you can make an argument it's going to be worth a lot more than that, even if Tesla never actually solves FSD Beta. There's a new Morgan Stanley note. Gary commented on it. Based on a recent Morgan Stanley survey of U.S. institutions, Tesla bears outnumber bulls by over 2 to 1. 60% of survey respondents expect Tesla shares to underperform the S&P 500 through year end, while 26% expect Tesla shares to outperform. 75% of survey respondents believe Tesla shares have yet to bottom this year, with 27% of respondents expecting shares to bottom at or below $100. And this is directly from the Morgan Stanley note. Less than 1 in 4 surveyed believed Tesla is a good way to gain AI exposure in their portfolios. From our recent conversations with investors, Elon Musk is seen as making some effort to distance Tesla from the AI theme for 2024, allowing investors to focus on the deteriorating EV demand narrative. And despite the somewhat bearish sentiment, Morgan Stanley says that they reiterate their overweight Tesla stock price target of $345 per share. But I remember a very similar note when Tesla stock was roughly around $160, and everyone thought that Morgan Stanley asked that the stock is not going to do well, and despite that, it went to almost $300 within a few months after that. So I don't see these opinions exactly as credible. If anything, it's a bit of the opposite for me. Morgan Stanley expects Tesla to host another AI day, but James says the last thing we need from Tesla is another AI day. We need AI execution and monetization, not more demos and explanations. By the way, Morgan Stanley had 84 respondents in the survey. The Model Y subsidy in South Korea has been confirmed. However, it is smaller this year compared to the last year. Here's the European Union BEV market update. The sales in January increased by almost 30% year over year. So the EV wave sort of continues. I mean, it's not down to like 5% year over year. Clearly, the progress is still happening pretty fast. Cybertruck deliveries are starting to happen for the first time in many different places. For example, this is the first Cybertruck delivered in North Carolina, and here are the first Cybertrucks coming to Utah. 82 articles in the legacy media have been written about Cybertruck's rusting, supposedly. And West, who is the Cybertruck lead engineer, says, yeah, there has been a lot of mainstream media coverage about rust. None show actual photos. Usually that is a good indicator to question the accuracy. And this is a side-by-side comparison with a painted vehicle, which shows that clearly this was just surface contamination. Tesla stainless steel actually has a Pren value, resistance to pitting corrosion, higher than 316L, which is marine grade. Here are January sales in Europe, and you can see that Tesla actually is up 86% year over year. So that's a pretty good result. Tesla's market share went from 1% to 1.7%. I believe that's market share of the whole market, including gas-powered vehicles. One more reason why the number has increased by so much is because Tesla has really worked on eliminating the end of the quarter delivery wave. I really liked the interview that Elon Musk did yesterday. I thought it was the best interview so far of 2024. Now, Elon only did a few interviews so far this year, so it's not a super high bar, but it was pretty cool. The first part of the interview was pretty serious, and then the second part got pretty casual. I personally really enjoy the casual part. If you haven't watched it yet, just browse through my channel and you'll see the interview there. One thing that Elon also said is about Neuralink. Elon Musk announced that the first human implanted with a Neuralink brain chip has made a full recovery, so that's really good. And Elon also said that he was asked, if you could change one thing, what would you change? And he said he would make everyone 10 times smarter, basically. He took a long pause before he answered that question. And yeah, that's certainly related to Neuralink. Volkswagen has unveiled their first ever electric wagon, the ID.7 Tourer, and it is not coming to the US. It has an 86 kilowatt hour battery, and it will have ChatGPT. It's launching later this year. Or it cuts price of the 2023 Mustang Mach-E by up to $8,000, offers 0% financing to get rid of existing inventory to make way for 2024 model. And this is expected to be a Model 3 competitor, a Mercedes EQC sedan, which was spotted for the first time being winter tested. We know that BYD is doing a stock buyback, but it is only a $30 million buyback. That's not much. Also, BYD only has $9 billion in liquid assets and sells 3 million vehicles per year. Tesla currently has about $29 million in liquid assets. So to me, this doesn't mean at all that BYD is somehow doing better than Tesla just because it did a $30 million buyback. That's a pretty low amount. Tesla could definitely do a $30 million buyback, no problem at all. Ford is also offering some pretty big incentives to sell some more F-150 Lightnings. $12,500 in cash for the Lightning Premium, for example. And here's a nice breakdown of the Mach-E prices, new versus old. Comparing the Tesla Model Y performance to the Ford Mach-E GT, even though the price is relatively similar, the Tesla Model Y is clearly a better option. More range, faster, more power, less weight, higher top speed, although this one doesn't really matter unless you are in Germany. And of course, quite a bit more space for cargo. The Tesla is also slightly longer and certainly quite a bit wider, 84 inches wide compared to 74 inches. So inside you will be able to enjoy a more spacious environment in the Model Y. Tesla is running more paid ads on X. This one highlights the Sentry mode, the trip planner, the dog mode also, and of course the price, which is about $35,500 after the $7,500 tax credit. I found one more person that got FSD V12, 45 minutes with zero intervention, still some moments of confusion, but nothing deal-breaking overall. Drive was super smooth and human-like, so many improvements from V12. This version can definitely take you from point A to point B. And Omar posted one more drive, no interventions. This drive is just a little bit over 10 minutes. It's becoming so many of these no intervention videos. Of course, it's a bit easier for the vehicle to drive at this time when there are so few cars around, and that means the situations it's going to encounter are not going to be as difficult because also all the traffic lights are more likely to be green driving at this time of the day or night. But it appears to me that these no intervention drives that are less than 1 hour long are going to become pretty common when FSD V12 rolls out to everyone. This is pretty cool. Tesla Model Ys will have the newly developed airbag, which is engineered to deploy in the event of a side collision, acting as a barrier between the driver and the front passenger. Like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and watch that interview with Elon Musk. I thought it was pretty good. A lot of different subjects were discussed. I also put detailed timestamps in that video, so if you want to skip something, you can easily do so.